Week 3 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few hitters I look to drop this week. The first guy, McCarthy of the Arizona Diamondbacks. I know a lot of people took McCarthy 6th, 7th round of most fantasy drafts, but right now he's not a guy playing much, and he's just not getting the job done. Still owning 77% of fantasy leagues. So on the season, 47 at-bats, 5 runs scored, 2 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, a 170 batting average, and a 264 on base. So the only thing is here for him, the strikeouts aren't high. He's been putting the ball in play, but McCarthy sat out 2 out of the last 4 ball games, and they're starting to sit him more. He obviously is this Arizona Diamondback team. I know it's only the first few weeks of the season, but right now he's not producing and getting the job done. And fantasy owners, to be honest, I wouldn't wait around for him either, is McCarthy. I know last season the 23 stolen bases were impressive and the 283 average, but right now he's not getting the job done. And if he can't go on base, obviously he can't steal bases. So the last few games, April 10th versus Milwaukee, 0 for 4. April 11th versus the Brewers, 1 for 3. April 12th versus the Brewers, 0 for 4. April 15th at Miami, 0 for 2. And April 16th at the Marlins, 0 for 4. So right now he sat out April 17th ball game at the St. Louis Cardinals. He's not producing. He's not getting on base. And like I said, if he's not getting base and stealing bases, which is his top strength right now, is McCarthy. He's a hitter I would drop this week. The next guy is Joey Meneses of the Washington Nationals. So Meneses last season, he was off to a pretty good start once he got the starting job for the national team. And he hit over 320, 324 with 13 homers and 34 RBIs and only 222 at-bats. But so far this season, virtually nothing from him. 63 at-bats, 5 runs scored, no home runs, 4 RBIs, a 238 average, and a 284 on base. So right now, this national team, I know last season when Meneses started those games here, they didn't have much protection in the lineup, and once again, they don't this season. But right now, he's not getting the job done. He's not hitting for average, 238. He's pretty much down there. And this national team, they don't score a lot of runs and have no protection in the lineup as well. April 11th at the Angels, 0 for 3. April 12th at the Angels, 1 for 4 with an RBI. April 14th versus Cleveland and that 1 0 for 5. April 15th versus the Guardians, 2 for 4, running a rib. And April 16th versus the Guardians, 2 for 5 with an RBI. So right now, that's 3rd or 4th still in this lineup here is Meneses for this Washington national team. But he's not driving in runs, only 4 RBIs in the early going. He doesn't have a homer under his belt. And right now, I would drop him. No doubt about it, he could turn things around. And over the last 2 games, he's had 2 hits in both games here. But right now, he's a guy I'm not going to wait on. And I would drop him this week. The next guy is Ryan McMahon of the Colorado Rockies. So Ryan McMahon, even last season, it was an up and down year. But for the most part, he didn't do much, is McMahon, in terms of total stats for the season last year. Only hitting 246 and 20 home runs, was a little underwhelming in Coors Field. And so far this season, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, 5 runs scored, a stolen base, 53 at-bats, a 189 average, and a 279 on base. So right now, still owning 70% of fantasy leagues. At least he has some versatility, qualifying at second and third base, is McMahon. But he's not getting the job done right now for this Colorado Rocky team. And he's not a guy I'm going to wait around for as well, even though it was nice he did hit 20 home runs. And we know second base isn't the greatest of positions in fantasy baseball, but right now, I would drop him. If he does get things going, you could pick him back up on the wire. April 11th versus the Cardinals, 2 for 5, a homer, 3 RBIs. April 12th versus the Cardinals, 1 for 3. April 14th at the Mariners, 0 for 3. April 15th at the Mariners, 0 for 3. And April 16th at the Mariners, 0 for 3. So right now, in the last few games, he's 1 for 12, is Ryan McMahon, and that's not going to get the job done. And like I said, if you're down in the standings early in the year, I know it's tough to cut bait with players in only week 3 of the season, but if you're in a points league 0-2 or something, or even a categories league, and you've lost a lot of categories in the early going, you can't sit on your hands and not make moves with your roster. So right now, McMahon is a guy we dropped this week. The next guy is MJ Melendez of the Kansas City Royals. So I know Melendez is one of the top prospects in the system last season, coming up with 18 homers, 62 RBIs, and 217 average. And he qualifies a catcher in outfield and pretty much plays every day. But so far this season, it's been a rough one for him. 1 home run, 6 RBIs, 7 runs scored in 53 at-bats with a 170 batting average and a 290 on base. So his on-base to batting average ratio is good, no doubt about it. But right now, he's not hitting the baseball. He's hitting way under the Mendoza line. Here's Melendez. I know he's batting in a prime position in this Royal offense, but obviously that's not saying much, where this Kansas City Royal team has a lot of holes in their lineup. And Melendez right now isn't producing. April 12th at Texas, 2 for 5, a run, 3 RBIs. April 14th versus the Braves, 1 for 4, 2 runs. April 15th versus Atlanta, 0 for 4. April 16th versus the Braves, 0 for 3. And April 17th versus Texas, 1 for 4 in that ball game. So right now, Melendez not getting the job done. He's not putting up fantasy numbers. And he's another guy, even though he does qualify catcher, which is one of the weakest, if not the weakest position in fantasy baseball. He's not a guy I'm going to wait on as well. And right now, I would drop him. If he gets hot, obviously, you could always go out there and try to get him on the wire. But right now, I would drop him in the 5th and final. I look to drop this week here is Michael Conforto of the San Francisco Giants. So we know last season Conforto didn't get the contract he wanted. And then he injured himself training with the shoulder surgery. And now here in his first season with San Francisco, 3 homers, 6 RBIs, 9 runs scored, 41 at-bats, a 220 average, but a 373 on base. And that's one thing Conforto always brought. He always had a decent eye at the plate. Always had a pretty good on-base percentage. But right now, he's striking out a decent amount, 16 Ks in 41 at-bats. He looks lost up there at times. And we know in his New York Met career, he was a streaky hitter where some months he'll hit 10, 12 home runs, and then some months he'll hit 190 and only 1 or 2 home runs. So right now, Conforto banged up a little bit as well for the San Francisco Giant team. And he's a guy with nagging injuries on and off throughout his career, and a guy that is a streaky player. So right now, while he's on a downslide, is Conforto. He's a guy we dropped this week. The last few games for him, April 11th versus the Dodgers, 0 for 2 with a run. April 12th versus the Dodgers, 0 for 2 with a run. April 14th, sat that one out. April 15th, pinched it at the Tigers, 0 for 1. April 16th, the rain out. And April 17th, he sat out in that ball game in Miami. So right now, he's banged up, like I said, in Conforto with a calf injury. And he's day-to-day right now, but it wouldn't be surprising to me if he's on the injured list sooner than later, if this calf injury keeps lingering. And right now, he's on the 51% of league still as Conforto. But right now, he's cooled off. And obviously, the injury hasn't helped. So that's a few hitters I look to drop here in week 3 of the fantasy baseball season.